Happiness is like a delivery. It arrives but always late. A man finds the prince, once enemies. 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye, like a firework display, and the man no longer dwells on his pain but starts to discuss Old Cow and their extraordinary plans. He urges the prince to flee with his family. Cow is capable of any prank. The two little brothers are ready, with one to deal with the prince and the other for his mom. Just like a teamwork, Curly, taking advantage of the prince's absence, charged into the restaurant with his men. Even Mom couldn't stop the thugs. He was dragged outside, causing them to start smashing things. Curly was as calm as if he were watching a comedy show. Hearing Mom cry, the sister rushed up, while Curly didn't overreact because the prince was like a big old tiger. That night, the prince found Curly and said, "We don't have much to discuss. I want to see Prime Minister Xu Panty." Old Cow, surprised and disdainful of the prince's obedience, had a love letter written as the prince begged for his family's safety. He hoped the prince would be his prime minister, but the prince immediately refused, saying, "You're really funny. I heard you might be a bit feisty, maybe out of fear," Old Cow confirmed, as the police and his boys teamed up. Thugs went to the car shop, stirred trouble on entry, twist my car. "My skills in joking are top-notch now," the prince responded with a smile that was quite comedic. The opponent lowered their guard, and with one punch from the prince, blood dripped from his mouth, almost like he was acting in a show. "What are you doing?" "Nothing special. Just dealing with some work-related matters at the company." They surrounded the prince, punching and kicking. He didn't fight back like a good bunny. The boss sensed something was off and rushed out to stop them, but the thug joked around with a wrench. Unexpectedly, the prince heard a shout, turned around, and rushed to help like a superhero saving the boss. He desperately protected the boss until the crowd surrounded them, and only then did they stop. The police watched, feeling regretful they didn't intervene. Their original plan was to send him back to jail. It seemed the plan had flopped. Xiaobao heard about the day's events and came to mock, thinking the prince was a fierce tiger. But now it seems he's just a cowardly sick cat. He helplessly replied, "I'm still a kid." "A kid? A kid?" Xiaobao felt disrespected and began to taunt. He couldn't understand why bad luck would adopt an enemy, and this conversation was heard clearly by the sister. "Although it left me upset, the situation wasn't entirely unbearable. After enduring a long, sleepless night, I mustered up the courage to finally speak the truth. I have never witnessed a man so deeply immersed in sorrow before this." Watching the prince cry, he was still quite young. Not understanding the end of the world, he felt that he wasn't a bad person. So, after a few days of searching, I ended up hearing some taboo tales. After 10 years of watching, that's just a fortunate casualness. So my son had a little one. After hearing Mom's words, the sister understood everything, even though her tone was filled with resentment. Yet she asked the prince to stay. What about the big brother's matters? He never took the initiative, leaving everyone gossiping. It even made the neighbors grumble. So back when the brother died, everyone was quite happy. Now I can sleep soundly and Mom won't need to get hurt. The prince waits in the sky, while the sister races home, unaware of the motorcycle speeding toward her. The sister was hospitalized. Mom stared intently at her daughter and, after much thought, surrendered. She planned to sell the restaurant and leave with her 2 kids, while the prince, knowing Old Cow would not let it go easily, went to pay a visit. The prince was humble and wanted to leave, but Old Cow smiled and ordered him to cut off an arm. He was always fearful of the prince's fighting capabilities and wanted to break his arm, but the prince did not refuse. Everything was worth it for Mom's safety, and the 2 little brothers didn't obstruct at all. The cripple stepped in and directly opened the prince's phone. They left only after Old Cow nodded. The cripple told the prince he didn't go all out, perfectly avoiding the little brothers, just giving a light tap. The cripple explained again that he didn't hit hard, he avoided important spots, just a minor injury. Even so, Old Cow still wouldn't let them off. After some instructions, the little brothers accepted the task. After bandaging, the prince stared at his sister, thinking all would be well and they'd be happy for long. But the sudden appearance of the little brother suffocated Mom, and no matter how hard she struggled, she couldn't escape. He stared at those shoes, fixated on the gift from the prince until the very end. They tidied up the scene, found a threatening diary, and then left Mom's fingerprint on the shoe. The prince shouted loudly, but there was no response inside. Until he opened the door, he saw his mother collapsed on the beam. "Mom, Mom, open your eyes. Open your eyes, Mom, Mom."